How many Nobel Prizes are there? 6 in total. Physics, chemistry, medicine or physiology, literature, peace, and the latest edition, economics, which we'll be doing today. This is the topic for today. There are 2 topics in total. One is creative destruction or sustained growth, which is a very interesting topic. But a more interesting topic is the next one, peace, as you might relate, Nobel Peace Prize. Okay, so let's start. Creative destruction or sustained growth. These 3 gentlemen over here have got this year's Economics Peace Prize, and we'll discuss in the next slides what they mean in simple terms. Just to remember the names of these guys, the simple mnemonic is Jewel Map, G-E-W-E-L, Map. Jewel, M-A-P, very simple mnemonic, just remember. Now let's come to the core topic. How innovation through creative destruction keeps the economy growing forward. The spiral, how it's rising. This is the main theme. See, both slides are important. Just to get a context of what is going on here. There are some intellectuals who come up with an idea, a very novel idea. Okay? But that is only theoretical. And there are some guys who are the practical workers, who work on the field, who understand. Now when you combine these two, then growth happens. Then see the spiral of growth happening. Now see, this is known as propositional knowledge, which means only on paper knowledge. There's nothing practical about it, there is only theory. But when you combine with prescriptive knowledge or practical knowledge, when these guys come up with a new brilliant idea, and these are the guys who perform it, then they understand the nuances, how it can be improved. And these two in synchrony, in sync, leads to growth. Simple. This is the main idea behind this year's Economics Nobel Prize. Now see how innovation through creative destruction keeps economy growing. What creative destruction means is, you have to clear out space to get something new. Since childhood in India, you might have heard, घर में कुछ नया लाने के लिए कुछ पुराना हटाना पड़ता है. It's a very common term. In the same manner, to get something new, to innovate something new, you have to get rid of old. That is the core theme over here. And in Hindu mythology also, this idea predates time, hota na, before time. You might have known Lord Shiva doing Tandava, the cosmic dance. What does the cosmic dance represent? It represents this theme. Creative destruction. He creates new worlds, he creates new universes. How? By destroying old ones. See, it's a simultaneous process. It's not that first something is destroyed and then something is created. No. Something is being destroyed at the same time. Something is being created. That is the synchrony behind it. That's it. Now see, we discussed this, Shiva's Tandava also, and it has been also mentioned by Karl Marx. Capitalism constantly revolutionizes itself. The very idea of capitalism is to revolutionize, always keep evolving. Capitalism never sits idle. Capitalism is perennial. Perennial is what? Never ending. That is the meaning of perennial. It always keeps on striving for something better, better technology, better lifestyle, just growth. But how? Growth should always be balanced. That we will see in the next slide. So have you understood the meaning of creative destruction? You need to let something go, then to get something. Okay. Now here are a few examples. Very simple daily life examples, just to understand what's going on. First, there were artisans, now machines have taken up the space. This is what creative destruction. Earlier there were workshops, now there are factories. Earlier people used to do clerical work, now computers do it just with a command, computer does everything. Earlier there were horse carts, then steam engine, and then what? Today's bullet trains, electric trains, the magnificent of them. That is how growth works, how sustained growth works. If you see, everything was in synchrony with each other. It never happened that something vanished and then the other thing came up. No. People still used horse carts and they also started using steam engines. The ratio changed. The degree and degree to which each thing was used kept on changing. Now see, in the Indian context, we will see a few examples. As you know, in 1991, LPG reforms were taken. Liberalization, privatization and globalization. Now what that did was, it opened up India's economy to the rest of the world. Through that, a few years later, the idea of a computer coming to India was floated around in the parliament, and it led to great chaos, huge chaos. Everyone in the parliament was shouting. Why? Because everyone thought that it will take away jobs, it will lead to increased unemployment. But after 30 years, now what do you see? Because of that day's revolutionary idea of getting a computer to India, getting a computer to everyone's desk, today there are IT. We have become the head of service sector in the whole world because of that idea. See, this is what creative destruction is. At that time, it did create unemployment. It did take up a few jobs, but today everything is IT. Half of the world wants to work in IT. Just imagine if due to some reason that day, it's a hypothetical case, but this computer, the idea would not have been floated. It would not have brought computers, the IT technology to India. Where would we stand? Just think about it. Second is metros. Whenever the idea that metro should come to a new city floats, then auto rickshaw people, they all come together, stage a revolt. They show their disconcern. Why? Because they think their jobs will be taken away. Their daily earnings will be taken away. But if you take the example of Delhi in particular, you can take any example, just Delhi is the capital, that's why I'm taking it. Both metros and auto rickshaw people have grown simultaneously in sync with each other. That is what destruction is. With creative, see, what happened was, metros came, people started using metro, but the value of auto rickshaws didn't go down. It helped synchronizing the whole traffic system. There are less roadblocks now. I suppose you get the idea. Okay? That's the whole idea behind it. Now we'll see how, we'll take a very crude example to understand what is the biggest disruptor of this age. You must have heard of AI because you're the Gen Z people, the Gen Alphas. So you've heard of AI, right? So as the biggest disruptor of this age is AI, of this present today and the next few years coming, the biggest disruptor is AI. Understood? Let's see it with an example. Most of you might have seen such images. You might have used such images in your DP also and various platforms. But do you understand the idea behind it? This art is called Ghibli art. It is a very ancient Japanese art which used to take months, days, weeks to get it done. But today with just a simple prompt, with a simple technology in your hand, your mobile phone, your smartphone, just within a few seconds you can create this, which first used to take months. Now this is what is a disruptor is called. Understand the value, the graveness of this situation, that so many unemployment is going on. What can AI do today? Earlier you used to ask what can your car do, what can your mobile do? There were always limitations to it. But today the question is, what cannot AI do? It can make movies, it can sing songs, it can make portraits, it can make talk, it can make songs. Just think the capability which it has. Now this is what a disruptor is. But now time will tell how this leads to creative destruction. As we have seen in the earlier slide, when a computer came, IT jobs filled. Today also many jobs will go away. It might be you, it might be me. There is always a concern, but you have to learn new ways. That is how creation comes into place. Now see, this is an economics topic, but being a UPSC aspirant, you have to learn it to connect to other things, simple things. Like for example, if you connect it to the political atmosphere, what does creative destruction means? What does sustained growth means? It means countries overthrow their leaders. Countries do what? Regime changes happen. But there has to be a balance. For example, see, balance as stated over here is too little change and the economy is stagnated, like you won't feel it, it's going too slow. But too much change, resources are wasted. For example, we also did creative destruction and we overthrew the British. We became independent and we set an example for the whole world to become the world's biggest, largest, successful democracy. But the same thing happened with our neighbors. See where they stand. Pakistan, for example, Bangladesh, what's going on? Gen Z protests in Nepal, Bangladesh protests. That is the idea of balance. With every creative destruction or with every change, there has to be balance. As you can relate this to Buddhism, Madhyam Marg also. What did Madhyam Marg say? There has to be a balance. Extremities is always bad. You have to be always in the Madhyam path, the middle path. For example, if we take North Korea. North Korea is excellent in the forms of defense equipment, up to par with most of the nations. But what did they do? They did this too much resources they utilized on what? On the defense. What does that lead to? Too little on human quality of life. The resources which can be used for betterment of human life, that is not being given over there. That's the problem. Okay, this topic is over. I suppose you've understood everything. Now let's come to the second topic, same Nobel Peace Prize, the more interesting one. Here's it. Everyone knows Mr. Trump over here and his wish to get the Nobel Peace Prize. He's a person who's the president of the United States plus a billionaire. Two aspirations which I think everyone in the world looks forward to. Still, after getting these two, what he wants is a Nobel Peace Prize. And fortunately or unfortunately, whichever you see it, he didn't get it. But the idea is USA won. See how Trump lost but USA won. You have to understand the idea of national interest over here. First, let me introduce you. Marina Corina, she won the Nobel Peace Prize for working relentlessly for the people of Venezuela. Great idea, noble theme. But you have to understand this. America has deep interest in the state of Venezuela. Very deep interests. That is why she got. See, it's all somewhat skeptical. But most of the international organizations, the big ones, IMF, World Bank, they all are somewhat inclinated towards USA because of the funding. As simple as that. That is why we are saying Trump lost but USA won. The idea of national interest is always important than the interest of an individual, be it the very president of that country. I reiterate, the idea, the interest of the nation always stands supreme, more important than the president itself. This is what we see over here. Thank you.